welcome back to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. My name is Heike, and today I have Tiander back with me. Welcome back, Tiander.
Hello, Heike. Thank you.
Last time we spoke, we discussed our unified security operations platform, and it was a packed episode, and we basically ran out of time. Today, we are going to focus on a very specific topic, that is correlation, which I think is such an important topic, and we want to demystify it, like how it works, without, of course, sharing the top secret sauce in the backend, but in general, how it works and what it is all about, right?
Correct.
So I think correlation, if I'm not mistaken, right? So if we have our incidents, and our incidents contain alerts, and an alert is being generated because various events happened in a sequence or on a specific, something suspicious on multiple areas. And then we bring that alert, and then we correlate, or do we correlate before? How is that?
No, it depends. So let me talk a little bit about correlation, because as you just mentioned, it is a topic that is top of mind for every customer who is joining the unified security operations platform. And correlation, I just want to touch base on correlation, is a great thing. It's an awesome thing to get your SOC operations center where you need to be, kind of at machine speed, so to say. We use that for Copilot for security, but I wanted to kind of make the same pitch for correlation. And correlation is our engine, our backend engine, that will look at different events, different alerts from several sources, several detection sources, and we'll try to recognize a pattern and a relationship between the events and the alerts. And when that is being detected, we're grabbing all the alerts and the events, and we will get them into one single incident to notify the analyst and the SOC operations center that is a relationship attack going on, hence the correlation of all of this. But I have to say, it surprised a couple of customers because it is interacting automatically with your incidents, with your alerts as designed. But it's something that you need to be aware of.
Mm-hmm. So this brings up an interesting question for me, because you just mentioned we have that Defender XDR, but now with the unified security operations platform, we have Sentinel. So Sentinel correlated things already. Defender XDR correlated things already as well.
Exactly.
So are we now doing this again, or how does that correlation look like for the incidents in Defender XDR that now also contain Sentinel data?
It's a great question, Heike, because this is a question that I got from a customer as well. So for the Sentinel viewers, there's a component in Sentinel which is called Fusion. Fusion is, as the word says, fusing incidents and alerts together. Now, if you onboard to the Unified Security Operations Platform, Defender also has a similar technology called correlation, but that is taking the whole principle to the next level. So when you onboard, we're going to disable Fusion in Sentinel, and this surprised a couple of customers because the Fusion rule wasn't there. So if you're looking, watching this episode, Fusion is disabled because correlation takes over. It's Fusion on steroids, I call it that way. And the thing is, because you mentioned Sentinel and XDR, two separate worlds, unified now, so correlation will take into account Sentinel alerts and events, Defender events and alerts, and third-party detection sources. So that's a big difference.
So, but for customers that are only using Sentinel, there is still Fusion going on?
Right, that's still there.
Okay.
As soon as you onboard, the correlation will take over. And I consider it the Uber kind of fusion technology that we're applying.
I like the on asteroids. Like that was a good analogy. So what happens in the backend? Like there's of course a lot of machine learning and a lot of great threat intel that we apply, and like how what is going on in the backend that events, because you can't just say statically like, okay, this happens and this happens, then this is one on one is two, right? So there is so much dynamic that happens, and you need to be aware of and then bring this alert up. It can't just be something, oh yeah, very well known. Blah, blah, blah.
So the correlation engine is looking at what we call specific entities, like a user, like a device, or like a mailbox, and other things. And when events are coming in through our detection pipelines, we are going to look at those entities, and if there's a relationship between, let's say, a user and a mailbox or a URL visit, and we take a look at those entities, but also based on a time pattern. So we were looking back several hours, maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, to see if there is a specific relationship. And then we look at artifacts, right? And artifacts are files, processes, email senders. And for example, if you send me an email, I open the email, I click on a URL, and let's say it's a malicious URL, right? So now I'm connecting, you're surprised, but now I'm connecting your identity, my identity with the URL click. And if now, based on the URL click, you are going to lure me to a website and now grabbing my identity and doing some stuff with it, then I'm going to correlate all these events together. And this is something that correlation will detect and inform you about.
I think it's even going a little further, right? So it will probably, I don't know if it will check if other users receive the same email, if
Exactly.
there's more
Exactly.
people involved. It will look if your device was then connecting to something
Right.
weird.
Right.
There's so many entities involved. It's the user, the hiker, it's the laptop, PC, the device. It's you and your device and your mailbox and my mailbox. And wow, yes. And
Hmm.
URL. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So imagine what you just mentioned, how hard and difficult it is if you aren't on the unified portal, right? And you look at a bunch of alerts, a bunch of incidents, and there's no correlation happening, you would be kind of looking at maybe, I don't know, 50 incidents, which look not related, but they are. But if you don't know they are related, you're spending precious analyst time to go through all the incidents and determine, well, is this related or not? And worst case
Mhm.
scenario, even worse, I might have 10 analysts looking at all the separate incidents, working on their own, not realizing that it is part of an attack. That's the biggest concern.
I think it's one of our favorite feature, the incident, and it gives you a summary. It basically shows you the entire attack story in that graph. Um, and also the timeline on the side, so the visual aspect of it. But I spoke with or like I don't know if it was on X or any other social media platform, that people say I'm still going the old school way. I'm looking at
Yeah.
alert by alert and alert. There's always people that don't like new things, right?
Hmm.
So don't move my cheese.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the majority, they really understood the value of getting that presented. And when we think about an incident, if we missed adding a specific entity to it, like an alert, an event, people can do this and give feedback, so
Yeah.
to speak. And it's important for us to not include things that shouldn't be there, but it's also that fine, right? So the fine line, like how
Right.
much threshold do you go and what? Yeah, yeah. Should we look into an incident
Yeah,
or?
that's a great
Yeah.
idea to Anaka. I will show you how a Sentinel environment would look like prior to onboarding and how it
Yes.
would like after onboarding. I think that's a great thing
Oh,
to look
oh, I
at.
love that. Yes. Let's hop into the demo.
So Heike, we are going to look at a Microsoft Sentinel environment that didn't got onboarded to the unified security operations platform yet. And
Hmm.
as an analyst, I have a bunch of incidents or multiple analysts. So you can see a bunch of incidents right here, right? And
Hmm.
all these incidents are going to be triaged by analysts, maybe one analyst, two analysts, or 10 or 20 analysts. And you can see here a bunch of not that great incident titles that I need to look at: malicious credential theft, suspicious inbox forwarding rule, file download, all of, and Mimikatz that is concerning for sure. So what I could do prior to onboarding, I could go through all the incidents, right? And I could check every incident, take a look, triage it all goodness. But the concern is here, if my SOC operations team is spending a lot of time on all the incidents while the attacker is already breaching my environment, that's not good, right? So this is prior to onboarding to the unified portal. Now, let me show you how a Sentinel environment would look after onboarding. So I'm going to switch over. And this is how a Sentinel environment would look after onboarding. You can see now that I have a multi-stage incident and I have 11 alerts. So in the previous screen, you saw a number of alerts. If I would sum them up, potentially I would get close to the 11, if not all the alerts. And from here on, I can go ahead and take a look at it, what this actually is about. But if you are onboarded to the unified portal, you would most likely triage this in the new portal and not in the Sentinel portal. So you can click on the breadcrumb here to investigate that in the XDR portal. So I can click on it and I will be navigating to the unified portal. I will be landing right into the incident. Now, look at the alerts that Sentinel has. Same number of alerts, 11 alerts. But now I get the attack story and I can see all the alerts that are now unified by the correlation engine. So instead of me triaging 11 alerts, I can look at all the alerts here in one single incident. And then we have the graph, right? So that is where correlation also helps me to make sure that I prioritize. And notice this little crown. Can you see it? It's a little
I
bit hard to
do.
see.
Hmm.
And that indicates that my virtual machine is a crown jewel. I flagged it as a critical device. So correlation and unified portal for that matter is helping me to prioritize what is going on here. So in one look, I can see what is going on. And this is what correlation is providing me.
So I have a quick question on the very first screen where you showed us all the different alerts that were in Sentinel. So the correlation fusion that in Sentinel happens was correlating events to an alert, but not multiple alerts into an incident. So you always had an incident with one alert. So basically an alert is an incident. Or are there cases where you have an incident that has two alerts? So I don't.
I could have multiple alerts. So Sentinel, of course, supports an incident with multiple alerts. So that's a setting that you can set in Sentinel,
But
where
just
there
the correlation engine, the power is now so much different that it correlates, of course, where it makes sense. Additional alerts.
additional alerts from different detection sources. So it
Hmm.
typically in Sentinel, I would create an analytics rule, and if it matches a condition, I would, based on the condition, I would grab all the alerts, multiple alerts, and put them in one single incident. But
Hmm.
I would have separate incidents. That would not be correlated as we do today in the unified platform.
Wow.
But Fusion would do it, but it has limitation in the number of detection sources.
I did not know this. Like Tiander, this is huge. I mean, I come from the Defender world, so for me, this was already there. And for me, like bringing the Sentinel data, of course, enriched an incident. And now Sentinel people can use advanced hunting and get all these other Defender specific
Right.
features. But this is huge. Like this is a must have. This is like basically yes, Sentinel people need to onboard to Defender. That there's
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So this was an incident that, or is an incident that only contains Sentinel alerts and incidents, or have there been some Defender thingies also been included?
It's a good question. So let me show you the incident queue. And currently, this is my clean, separate environment, right? So you can see here the multi-stage incident, and you can see here the number of alerts. And what you will also see are the detection sources. So I can see here that this incident consists of alerts from Defender for Endpoint, Cloud Apps, XDR, and Identity Protection, and also Sentinel. So that's the added value on top of what currently is available in Sentinel. We will have all the detection sources in one single queue.
This is huge. I think also something to mention, not sure it's activated for your tenant here, but we have Copilot for Security, which gives
Yes,
you
we do.
additional great efficiency boost
Yep.
for incidents and other areas, which is available for Sentinel incidents if they are in the Defender portal, right? So there is no
Right. So
embedded experience in the Azure portal.
so it has a couple of flavors, and I can let me bring up an environment where Copilot is available to show you that integration.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at a more complicated incident with a lot of alerts, 25. But this tenant is Copilot enabled. So you can see here the Copilot integration with the incident report, guided response, all of that greatness here. Also, what I wanted to mention, the interaction with exposure management is amazing. And why that is, so if I look at the alerts here, so I can click on the alert or assets actually, because I wanted to show you how an asset would look like. And you can see here, for example, I can click on any device here. And when I click on it, I'm getting a fly out panel. And what this fly out panel allows me also to have a map view on where is this device in my whole environment. So if I click on view in map, I will be shown an attack surface map. So Sentinel customers out there, you don't have this today. But if you join the unified portal and you would enable exposure management, then you would see this, the relationship with the machine, the interaction with the users, and more, because I can kind of drill down on information right here. So I can actually zoom in more into information. Now I can scroll a little bit and zoom out. So you can see the relationship here. And notice here the icons that we're showing. This
Mm-hmm.
device has high critical vulnerabilities. In addition, while we are on the topic exposure management, there's also what we call attack paths. And what that actually is, it will show you what kind of attack paths, as the word says, an attacker can take based on my current environment. So you can see here, and this is a proactive thing that we have, like, hey, you have potential some Azure SQL vulnerabilities or attack paths that a hacker could leverage. So this is in addition what you get on top of the map.
So, and then of course we have attack disruption. So for all the people from Sentinel that is joining us here, which is like an awesome technology that really interrupts an attack, disrupts it at an early stage. And even though I would love for every single customers to see how it works and how awesome it is, I honestly don't want any of our customers to be attacked. But if automated attack disruption is also huge when it comes to of course, it goes through incidents, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, I can share a fun fact. I was building a demo, and during the demo, attack disruption kicked in and killed the session to my VM and blocked a user that I was using. Let me show you that for a second.
Yes.
What I wanted to point out here is that attack disruption actually disrupted my demo, because you can see here in the banner that a compromised account was contained automatically by attack disruption and killed my session. So, and you can check all the activities in the action center. So if I click on this, it will get me to the action center, and you can see here what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And this automatically killed my session to the virtual machine I was working with, and put my state of the user to a risky user. So I was pretty much blocked. So it's amazing. This is out there.
It is. It is. And then you had to do this all again.
Yeah, I had to do, yeah, indeed. I put my user, and you shouldn't do this at home, put my user as nothing is wrong with this user, safe user, although it got
Ay, ay, ay,
compromised.
ay, ay. Okay, okay, okay. So workarounds. So Tiander, we looked at all the automation that happens to build the incident, and a lot of automation that gets applied on the incident. But is there also something that customers can contribute? Because, every single environment is different, and something they can just help to make
For
an
sure.
incident better?
For sure. So correlation is something that runs in the back end, right? An automated way for us to help customers at light speed, if you will. I like using these wording, but obviously sometimes correlation is wrong, not accurate, maybe over correlations, or just plainly a wrong correlation. And what we are asking customers to do is help us to train the machine learning algorithm. So I'm going to switch over to the demo one more time and show you how you can influence the correlation behavior. So looking at the multi-stage incident, I can do two things. I can collapse it right from here. I don't have to open the incident, and it will show me all the alerts. Let's take a look at the alerts. And if I disagree with a correlation, or maybe I have evidence that this is not correctly correlated, and let's say that an Azure run script was not malicious code, I can select this, and I can go ahead and link the alert to another incident. So if I click on this, it gives me the choice to create a new incident or to link it to an existing incident. Now I can also remove the alert from this incident. Now this is how customers can help us with the alerts. I have also an update that I need to make for Sentinel customers, and I'm switching over to the Sentinel environment. What is confusing for customers today is the capability in Sentinel to do alert grouping. Alert grouping in Sentinel allows you to group alerts, as the configuration says, when I have a matching entity. For example, if I have a trigger of an incident and the alert within those incidents have a matching host name, then I would group this into a separate incident. I call this the singleton incident because I could configure it this way in Sentinel, that I have separate incidents for each and every alert that is related to a host. Now, this singleton incident approach is risky. And why is it risky? Because let's say that I'm the attacker and I'm attacking 5 different machines. Now, if I set this to this setting, I would have 5 separate incidents that potentially 5 different analysts would triage. They would separate it in a separation way, would triage those incidents, not knowing that this is part of one single attack. This is the reason why correlation would override this setting and would continue to create one single incident with all the 5 alerts so that the analyst at the same time can look at the 5 alerts, which is part of the same attack story. Now, this is confusing because this would say that I would create separate incident, but as said, correlation is taking over.
I find this concept of manually grouping alerts based on a rule weird. Like, my concept of that incident is not just, oh, let me get all these devices in an incident or something. For me, it's more something suspicious on certain entities happened and I need to bring them together. So I like that the incident correlation is taking over. I hope customers of Sentinel customers will excuse us that we do this.
Well, it for a Sentinel customer is unexpected behavior,
Yes,
which
of
we
course.
are documenting, by the way, so that this behavior is there. Now, I have to admit there are use cases that we're looking into that would make sense to have this separation. For example, if I have a very high critical machine or I have a test machine and I have the same alert, potentially I don't want this to be correlated because I have a high severity, high critical domain controller and I have a desktop test machine. So this is a use case that we are definitely looking into.
Okay. To bring such a scenario back into the unified platform experience.
That's correct. Yeah. And I would ask the viewers to reach out if you have use cases that are being disrupted
Yes.
by the alert grouping or by correlation.
Yes, please. Yes, please reach out if there are cases that you need this alert grouping. Good. Is there anything else, Tiander, that you wanted to let people know about incidents that we didn't?
No, again, it's a mindset for correlation, and trust me, viewers, it is helping you. It is great. It is doing what we expect to do, but it might need updating at your site into the SOC processes that you currently have. But correlation is here to stay. It is something that we're aiming for to improve. Is it perfect today? Maybe not, but we're working on it on a daily basis to improve it.
Okay. So, Tiander, thank you so much again for being my expert on today's episode. Thanks everyone for watching. And if you have topics that you would like us to cover, put them in the comments. And I hope I see you next time. Bye.